Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the components of aggregate demand, and we're going to start with household consumption. So that's all expenditure by UK households. We start with this one because, for most economies, consumption is the biggest component of aggregate demand. So in the UK, consumption is about 2/3 of GDP. It varies a bit by country. So if you went to Germany, then consumption is about half of GDP, and in China, consumption is about 2/5, 40% of GDP. And of course, this is going to vary, according to the other elements of aggregate demand. In China, there's very significant amounts of both investment and government spending. And the Belt and Road project, infrastructure. So China is still a giant construction site. Where you've got huge amounts of GDP is going into building cities, rail links, high-speed trains, roads, bridges, and so on and so forth. Whereas the UK, we don't do that. So the nature, so the extent to which consumption matters, it's important, but it's more important in some economies than others. So why is it that we care about consumption? And the answer is because of the impact that it has on the policy objectives. If you take both the financial crisis of the late noughties or the coronavirus pandemic, in both of these cases, what you've seen is there's been a sharp decrease in consumer spending. Some of that's due to confidence, some of that's because you're not allowed to leave your house. There's the whole variety of reasons, but consumption has dropped sharply. And if you went to trading economics and had a look at the key variables, then you would have seen a variety of things would tend to happen. So firstly, obviously, what's going to happen is that GDP is going to fall. So in both crises, we ended up with a recession. And a recession, we said, is 6 months or 2 consecutive quarters, if that's the bag you're into. 6 months of falling GDP. And of course, associated with that, if firms aren't producing stuff, then what's going to happen is that unemployment is going to go up. And there's a sharp increase. In the pandemic, it's probably relatively temporary. I was reading today about skill shortages already emerging and firms not able to get the workers that they need. In the financial crisis, it was longer term. Thirdly, because consumption cuts GDP, we're going to end up with a budget deficit. The government still has to spend money on hospitals, schools, and so on and so forth. But firstly, there's a big decrease in the tax base because GDP is lower. We talked about this before. But there'll be a cut in income tax, a cut in corporation tax revenue, a cut in VAT revenue because nobody's spending anything. And also, because unemployment's gone up, there'll be an increase in government spending on benefits. Those are the bit that, we'd expect, on the other hand, we'd expect inflation to fall. So if we go back to our wage price spiral, or our restaurant economy, the restaurant isn't going to be wanting to put up prices, when it's got no customers. And also, it's the few workers that are left are very frightened, so therefore they're not asking for big pay rises. So the rate at which prices are rising will tend to fall. And other things being equal, the impact on the trade balance. Obviously it depends a lot on what's happening in other countries, but if you take purely the effect of a reduction in local consumption, then what that should do, you would expect it to reduce imports, and therefore you'd expect it to improve the trade balance, or the current account balance, if you prefer. But the point is, because consumption in the UK is 2/3 of GDP, it has, you can't see that, can you? Fool. It has major effects, on GDP. GDP and the other key policy objectives. So that's why we want to understand it.